In light of being selfless, I am very thankful for the opportunity to speak with all of you this morning. I want to thank Coach Stroney for giving me the opportunity to come and speak with all of you. From what I understand, they've had some A-listers speak to this group. Super Bowl quarterback Jake Delhomme, College World Series coach Tony Robichaux, I believe the legendary Terry Tidwell, Coach Terry Tidwell was a speaker, Ironman athlete Coach David LeBlanc. Those are some pretty large shoes to fill. And in light of the fact that these are a size 6.5, that's going to be tough. Now, if he'd have had Coach Danny Broussard speak to the group, I believe I could have filled those shoes. I'm here this morning to tell you a story. A story about a former St. Thomas More athlete. That individual was my best friend while I walked these halls of St. Thomas More. I'm here to tell that story this morning because he's not here to tell it himself. He was a star second baseman, a captain, and a leader of the 1992 state championship baseball team. That was a team that Coach Stroney was a part of. For those of you who are not aware of Blaine's story, I'm going to take this morning the opportunity to share that with you. Oftentimes, life and sports have many parallels. We use sports analogies to describe some of life's challenges and struggles. I was thrown a curveball. I had a bad bounce. I was blindsided. Well, in early 2009, Blaine was thrown a curveball. He got a tough bounce, and he was completely blindsided when, after complaining about pain underneath his left arm, his doctor informed him that he had stage 3 melanoma cancer. For those of you who did not attend Cathedral and are not aware how Blaine's story ends up, the clock struck 0 and time ran out as Blaine took his last breath on the morning of January 18th, 2010. He was 35 years old. He played hard and he fought a good fight. Although he did not win the battle, I think he won the war. 2 weeks before Blaine passed away, I organized a group of 12 individuals, all St. Thomas More graduates, to travel to MD Anderson to visit with him. Now, this was late in Blaine's struggle, and he was very sick at the time. But we sat around his hospital bed and we told stories. Many of those stories took place during our 4 years on this campus. We laughed and we cried. And before we left, one of our friends who's here today, Danny Lassane, some of you might know Danny, Danny asked if it would be all right if we said a prayer. So we formed a circle around Blaine's bed. We held hands and we prayed. What an awesome sight. 12 grown men, comfortable in their own faith, standing humbly before God, knowing we would soon lose our brother. You see, that faith is not something that we learned in college. We weren't taught that at our jobs. And that faith is not an inborn quality. We learned that in high school. And not just any high school, but we learned that here at St. Thomas More Catholic High School. I had the opportunity to speak with Blaine one morning during his struggle. And he shared with me something that morning that I'll never forget. He said, Bruce was the nickname that he had for me. He said, Bruce, I can't believe that I'm dying. I thought I had a long life to live. And there's so much more that I wanted to do. There's so much more that I wanted to do. You see, I share that story with you guys this morning because I want you to realize how precious that life is. Perhaps the most distinguishing quality of Blaine's young life, though, was his constant faith in God. He talked with his father one morning and he said, Dad, he said, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but either way, I win. His dad was confused. He said, Blaine, what do you mean you win? He said, Dad, if I beat this disease, I win. I get to stay here on earth with you and Mom and all of my friends. But if this disease beats me, I still win because I get to go to heaven to be with the Father. That is faith. Faith, ladies and gentlemen, is undefeated. Faith is undefeated and unscored upon. And Blaine was accepting of God's will. And either way, he came out a winner. There's an old Cat Stevens song. Cat Stevens was a singer-songwriter in the 1970s. And in one of his songs, there is a lyric that says, you're only dancing on this earth for a short while. And how many songs that we get to dance in this life is not something that we control. The man upstairs controls that. What we control are the choices and the decisions that we make each and every day. Our lives are a culmination of all of those choices and decisions. And that path starts here. So I challenge you, ask yourself, what path am I on? But more importantly, what path do I want to be on? Am I an individual of character? Am I a seeker of truth? Am I God's servant first? If you can check off those 3 boxes, that's a pretty good start. I had the honor and the privilege of delivering the eulogy speech at Blaine's funeral. And that afternoon I read a poem that I would like to share with you all this morning. That poem is called The Dash. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of his birth and spoke the following date with tears, 1974 to 2010. But said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on this earth, and how only those who loved him know what that little dash is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. For what matters most is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real and always understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and or more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a while. So when your eulogy's being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of what they say about how you spent your dash? There's a Latin phrase, carpe diem. Carpe diem. Can anybody tell me what that translates to? Thank you, Miss Prudhomme. Seize the day. Seize the day. Today is a gift. Tomorrow is not promised. I had a conversation with Blaine's father on Wednesday, Tommy Duhon. Tommy could not be here this morning as he is in New Orleans preparing for the LSU game. Now, I think Tommy epitomizes the term die-hard fan. Tommy has missed 3 home LSU games since 1971. In over 45 years, he's missed 3 home games. One of which was in 2009 when Blaine was sick and undergoing chemotherapy. Blaine looked at him and said, "Dad, why are you here?" He said, "Well, Blaine, I want to be with you in the hospital." Blaine was so angry that he missed an LSU game that he said, "Dad, I don't care how sick I am the rest of the year, you will not miss another game." Tommy finished that season out in 2009, not missing another game. Tommy shared a story with me Wednesday as we were talking about Blaine. Blaine was a landman, oil and gas industry. He said, "Dad, if somehow I survive and beat cancer, I don't want to be a landman anymore." His dad asked him why. He said, "Because I want to do something to where I can have a positive influence on other people's lives." Earlier I said he did not win the battle, but I think he won the war. Blaine may not be here this morning in a physical sense, but I think Blaine's dream came true. Because in some way, I hope that my talk this morning with you, through me, Blaine has had a positive influence on your lives. So I wish you all the best with your choices and decisions as you dance through this journey of life and seize the day to fill your dash. And I'll leave you with one word from Blaine Thomas Duhon, St. Thomas More class of 1992. Pray strong. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Very special to have Brett and several STM alum in support of Brett. All of you here this morning, the faculty, the staff, the administrators that were present this morning on this Friday, kicking school off. Really, this is, aside from some formation retreats that a lot of the campus ministers did, this is our first campus ministry event. Thanks to all of you that made it a priority to be here. Thanks to all of you who accidentally showed up after being invited. Couple of things. Brett told you that Blaine had the winning formula, that regardless of the opponent, whether it was another day of living and the opponents that we meet in that day, or whether it was passing from this life through death to Christ, Blaine had the winning formula. It was faith. Brett shared that with you. I don't know if you're sitting in that chair because you possess that faith, because you have faith. I don't know if you're in that chair because you desire to have that faith. Some of you are in the chair because you felt like you had that faith and then lost it. And maybe right here in the starting window of school, you know, here at St. Thomas More, you've got a lot of opportunity to re-engage Jesus. One beautiful thing about Brett's talk that is a kind of an underlying current as he's standing up here. He didn't really speak to it, but you can tell that Brett has faith, and he's standing up here with conviction. He wouldn't be up here if Brett did not also possess that faith. A lot of times we have doubt. Sometimes we doubt that our pursuit of Christ, our relationship with Christ, will carry us to heaven. And sometimes we doubt that God is truly eternal, beyond time. One of the underlying currents that we're witnessing, and he did kind of speak to it, is that Blaine's spirit is actually still impacting those of us here and many other places. Is your spirit doing the same thing? There is a quote: if my life's movement would create an inertia of love, I would be pleased to die. If my life's movement would create an inertia of love, I would be pleased to die. And I think Blaine has created an inertia of love in Brett and his buddies, and it's still making an impact. We're very grateful for that. So Brett, thank you for sharing his story, and thanks to Blaine for the way that he lived that dash, right? If you would like to be in FCA, which means you're going to get communication, you're going to get some follow-up, you're going to get some encouraging scripture verses or formation pieces from Coach Stroni, who's our leader. If you have not already signed up for FCA, we'd love for you to go ahead and sign up if you want to be a part of it. To do that, simply email Stephen.Stroni@stmcougars.net today. Email him today, let him know you want to be in FCA. A couple of other things. I did an experiment in this room. Underneath 8 chairs is a taped gift. Don't look yet, don't look yet, don't look yet. Only eight chairs. By my estimation, we are, I don't know, 150, 200 strong in here. You do not have to look at your chairs to see if you are the winner. Because Nobody's sitting in those chairs. So I did an experiment because we sit too often not in the front. So these 8 chairs that are empty have a gift underneath them. They were for whoever sat in the front. So the next time that you're at Mass or an event where we're going to learn about Christ or we're going to pray together, let's start from the front and move back. You know what I'm saying? So look, y'all are the closest to him. Will, you take them in there for me so you don't get them. But those of you that are sitting closest to him, if you're in front of one of these seats, there's a nice little gift for you right there. Also, if you have not gotten a Campus Ministry t-shirt, we have them for sale over here. You can wear them on Spirit Days, Fridays when we're not having Pep Rally Red Day. Anything else? Oh, listen, everybody. This Wednesday, we're going to have an awesome evening right here in the cafeteria called Impact Night. Impacts began last year. There are only 4 per year, 2 per semester. It's going to be an awesome kickoff. It's for any student at St. Thomas More. It's even for your friends. If you got a best friend at Lafayette High, if you got a boyfriend or a girlfriend at another school, bring them. It's only $20 entry. I'm just kidding. It doesn't cost to come. But we got a great plan for you this upcoming Wednesday at 6 p.m. Okay? Why don't we pray together to wrap it up, and then we got donuts for you. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and